Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole and today I am doing the Get to Know My Taste tag. I always have to look in case you're new here because I always mess up the titles if I don't. Anyway, this tag was created by Samantha and Mari. I will link their channels rather in the description box below. And I was tagged by Allie at a genteel black hole. And yeah, this is a really fun tag. I wanted to get to it sooner than later because I always get to them way later. And the thing that I like about this tag is that it's intended to kind of be a follow-up to the Booktube newbie tag, which a lot of us booktubers do. But the Booktube newbie tag, while it kind of introduces your channel and it's kind of the expected thing to do, I personally don't think actually shares a lot about a person's reading taste, and your reading taste can change over time. So I do like that this is a tag that you could do repeatedly over the course of years or whatever. So I feel like my channel has been here for a couple of years, and this is a good way for me to do a channel update and a tag all at the same time. So let me go ahead and get started. Book number one. We haven't even gotten to the books yet, but I'm excited to do so. Question or prompt number one is, how do you rate your books? Give a quick rundown of how you do your star ratings, or if you don't use star ratings, and how you evaluate books. Okay, so for me, I do give star ratings even on my channel. I use them on the story graph, which is my main place that I go to sort of publicly log my books, if you will. And for me, the reason I give star ratings is not because I feel like they're written in stone and it's how everybody should feel about it, but I feel like because I do have a channel, people kind of watch and see how I rate things, and that it's a good way to get to know my reading taste. And I find that's true for when other people give star ratings, is after a while of watching them give book star ratings and maybe reading those same books myself and giving them star ratings, I feel like I get to know what their reading taste is. So I have people now who I know if they give a book a 2-star, I might like that book because I don't have the same reading taste as they do. Or I have a lot of other people I know that if they give a book 5 or 4 stars, like, I need to go pick that book up because I'm probably also going to like it. So I try to give myself a star rating just so that other people will have an idea of how I felt about it. And then the more familiar you become with my taste, the better idea you'll have for how that book might match your own taste, if that makes sense. And I do a 1 through 5 star rating. 5 for me is a book I would read again and absolutely loved, or that has stuck with me. A 4 is a book that I thought was, pretty good, but honestly, most of the time can't see myself rereading. A 3 is a book that I felt was okay. I'm a bit torn about. I wouldn't say it was a bad book, but it also wasn't that good for some reason. 2 is a book that I didn't like. There could be multiple things in it that I didn't like. It could be personal preference that I didn't like it, that kind of thing. And a 1 is a book that I hated and will never reread and am even loath to recommend. I don't give a lot of 1s. Prompt number 2, how do you approach reviewing books? What's your review style? Are you analytical, emotional, casual, or structured? I'll start with the second part or the second question. I would say that I'm structured and casual at the same time. And what I mean by that is that I do have a structure. I do have like a repeated set of things that I will talk about with each book, but it's casual in terms of while I take some notes, I'm not reading from a script when I review books. I only do reviews of books on my channel. I do use the story graph, but I'll just kind of click the little boxes they have there. I don't write out my reviews. That's why I started a booktube channel, because I didn't want to write out my book reviews. And so I will review them on my channel. When I review books, particularly right now, I talk about when the book was published, who the author is. I will give a quick synopsis of the book, what some of the main topics are that are covered in the book, and then I will go into what my favorite parts of the book were, least favorite parts, what I thought worked and didn't work, that kind of thing. I'll give my star rating, and then who I think might enjoy this book, even if I personally didn't enjoy the book, because I realize that reading tastes vary a lot, and what strikes me as something not working might work really well for somebody else, depending on what the issue, topic, whatever is. And so those are the main things that I kind of hit in my quick reading wrap-ups, which I do on a weekly basis, and they're just quick short reviews of books. Every now and then I will do a long-form standalone video on a book where I will go in depth about how the book is structured, how it's formatted, the writing style, who the characters are, typically not plot spoilers, but just what you can expect going through the book and what my own personal reading experience was. I do that less frequently because I feel like they're just not what most people are looking for when they go onto Booktube and they're looking for book recommendations, and they're not typically what I'm looking for. Like, I want a better idea of what I can expect out of a book, but I don't typically want to know everything about a book, so I don't share that myself. Question 3. What's the book that made you a reader, whether it was your first favorite or the one that got you hooked? What book started it all? And I'm reading off my phone, by the way. Um, the book that started it all. I don't know. I have been a lifelong reader. I don't know what the book was that started it all. What I do recall is reading a lot of Ramona Quimbley when I was in elementary school. So that series definitely kept me into reading. And then later in life as an adult, I really got back into reading maybe about 5, 6 years ago. And I can't think of one particular book right now that got me back into reading, but I know the genre of fantasy is what kind of kept me consistently reading when I started reading more and more frequently. Like, I've been a lifelong reader. I've always been somebody who would read books, but it's really been in the last 6 years that I've gone back to reading books at the level and in the quantity that I read them, like all the way up through my early 20s. Basically, after I had a child, it was harder to read. Number 4, do you have a genre niche? Are there certain genres you gravitate towards, or do you read widely across genres? I would like to think that I read pretty widely across genres and that there's not a niche I fall into, but I do know there are things that I'm drawn to and that I will go back to over and over again more frequently. And some of them are genres, some of them aren't. So I'll just go with the things that I feel like I've become pretty well known for on my channel. One would be big books. I am not afraid to read a big book. And to me, a big book is something that's like 700 or 800 pages or more. To me, like 500 pages isn't really a big book. It's just like a longer book, like a good sized book. And 400 pages, I feel like is a normal length book. So that gives you some idea. I like big books. I also really have been loving sci-fi a lot of late, particularly in this last year. So I feel like that's a genre I keep going back to. And then beyond that, I do read quite a few classics over the course of the year, sometimes all at once. I just want more and more of those classics. That just really depends. I'm still trying to figure out if there's a genre within classics that I tend to love. But those are definitely the types of books that I'm really drawn to. I also don't tend to like a ton of contemporary fiction, and I don't tend to read a lot of really newly published books. So on my channel, you will also tend to find a lot of older books, backlisted books, and just a mix of other things that aren't really being spoken of because I don't look for that when I'm shopping for books. So there's that. Question number 5, do you generally prefer character-driven or plot-driven stories? I really like both, and they both need to be really managed well. Like, I love a good character study, but it needs to be done well. Like, I don't want to just be stuck in somebody's head while they're sitting in a room thinking. Like, every time that happens in a book, like, I just get a sense of dread. At the same time, like, I don't need there to be like just action and things just moving around, and I hate when characters are in books for no other reason to move the plot along. So I need a balance of both. Number 6, what's a book you love so much that you don't care if others don't like it? What's that one book you love enough for everyone? I have two. The book I love enough for everyone is right here, David Copperfield. I didn't even take it off the shelf because I just figured I could show you my shrine. Like, all of these books on this shelf right here are all David Copperfield. I definitely love that book enough for everyone. I don't care if no one else in the world likes it. You don't need to. Like, I've got you covered. But I actually have another book as well that I find that, like, that's my thought about it. Like, people can be like, give it a 1-star review and say they don't like the book, and I don't care because I love this book. And it's also The Phantom Tollbooth. I reread this twice in 1 year. This is another book in childhood that I just have memories of reading and rereading and rereading. And I don't care if I'm the only person who ever likes it. I'm not. Most people love that book. In fact, probably more people love The Phantom Tollbooth than they do David, but I don't care about either. Not you. I care about you guys. I just don't care if you like those books. Number 7, what's a book you love so much that if someone doesn't like it, you know your reading tastes don't align? The book or books where a difference of opinion is a strong indicator of the different reading preferences. This was actually a hard one for me. Like, I feel like you would think I would say David Copperfield or The Phantom Tollbooth, but in both, like, I could see why somebody wouldn't like them. David Copperfield's a longer book. That's going to turn a lot of people off. It's a very heavy character story. It's a classic. It's a different writing style. There's a lot of reasons I could see why people wouldn't like it or get into it or that kind of thing. And The Phantom Tollbooth, rather intentionally, starts kind of slow and dull seeming. And I think a lot of people don't tend to get past that. So I don't know. I don't feel like I would judge somebody's reading taste off of that. Honestly, if you didn't like any of the books that I didn't like, there's only 2 that I could think of that I might be judging you for, but not even that much. Like, okay, like I just want to know your reasons. But the one that I thought of might like give me some idea of whether or not we have similar reading taste, I'm gonna say is Cloud Cuckoo Land. And the reason is this is historical fiction, which is not something that I read that frequently, and it's got some magical realism in it, but I feel like there are a lot of different things in this book that made me love it that if somebody else found really boring or didn't like I'm not judging you for that, but it would make me think that they were things that are elements in books in general that if you didn't like those things, like we probably don't have similar reading taste. I don't know if I explained that well, but I know what I mean. Question number 8, what's in your trash pocket? What books, tropes, or themes that you know are bad but love them anyway? I don't know if I have trash pockets, and not because like I've got such great taste or whatever, but I just don't know if I think about things like that. Like I feel like regardless of what the trope or whatever is, like if you like that and you're reading, like I'm just happy that you're reading. Like I love reading and I love when other people love reading. And so yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I have anything that I feel like I would say is bad in a book, but I love anyway. Number 9, do you have any deal breakers in books? Something that, if present, immediately turns you off from a book? I don't know about immediately, but there are some things that if I see in a book, I'm like, ooh, this is like on the road to DNF. And usually if it has to do with like excessive amounts of something. And typically those things could be excessive amounts of racism, particularly if it occurs as slurs, excessive amounts of like sex in books I don't tend to like. I get secondhand embarrassment, and after a while, I'm like, this is just awkward. And the other one would be violence. I have a hard time with excessive amounts of violence, and that can include, I'm realizing, even just a lot of on page arguing. Like, that really stresses me out. But usually, when I think violence, I also mean like just graphic violence on page, like gratuitous amounts of it, especially if it seems like it's not necessary. Number 10. I'm definitely feeling like I skipped something at this point. I probably should have put my glasses on. What's a strong opinion you have about a book released within the last year, whether it's overrated, underrated, or just a take you need to share? For me, this year, that would be The Women. I did a whole standalone video on my strong opinion and all my thoughts about that book. And if you want to know if we have similar reading taste, you can go watch that video if you've read that book, and that might give you some idea. Question number 11, what do you look for in writing? What makes a book stand out to you? Is it prose style, themes, voice structure, or something else? It's a lot of things. I think if a book is standing out for me, it'll definitely be like the topics that are being discussed. Um, it'll start standing out to me as I see a theme being built, and if it's one that I'm enjoying the process of watching that theme be developed. Uh, what else? Prose will stand out to me either in a positive or negative way. I do not like flowery prose. I love beautiful writing. I love complex sentences. I do not like overwrought and tortured sentences. So that will definitely stand out to me if it's not working well. The book is just poorly written and worded, and the characterization just is blah, that will stand out to me too. So there's probably more like cheap, lazy things in books that will stand out to me immediately, or amazing writing. Like those are usually something about the writing, I guess, is usually the first thing that I'm going to notice. Question number 12. How do you decide what to read next? Do you plan ahead, mood read, or follow external factors, hype, recommendations, arcs, that kind of thing? So, just purely in terms of what I'm going to read next, I decide that by playing my TBR game. I do that now as I go. I used to do it monthly, and basically, it's just a game that helps me randomly pick a stack of books off my shelf. So, I usually pick what ends up being around 8 to 10 books to read through, and so that just gives me a smaller pile to look at to begin with. And then from there, I typically then decide like if there's anything that I need to read that has like an upcoming deadline, like if I have a book club that I'm doing soon, or if I'm discussing something with a friend, that kind of thing, those will usually be the first books that I attack. And then after that, I will just mood read through the rest of the stack. I guess the way it goes is it's a random TBR that is then slightly structured and then mood read. Number 13, where do you get your inspiration for your booktube content? What sparks your video ideas, other creators, friends, personal reading experiences? I would say all of the above. I don't know how much other creators do, though, like if I get tagged or something like that, or I get really inspired by something that I saw somebody else do, that might happen. I would say, but regarding creators and booktube, probably more often things that are trends that I think are fun and that like I want to try out, but I don't tend to do a lot of trends. And then a lot of it is just personal reading experiences. It just has to do with something that I read or something that I've been thinking about in my reading or something that I've been talking about with a buddy reader or with other viewers on my channel that I just want to discuss more or I think would be interesting to talk about. But a lot of my content just tends to be me talking about like different things that I'm doing in my own reading journey and experimenting and working on. Like a lot of my book projects end up being content. Like when I start a book project, like I'll do a video about like an area that I'm planning on exploring in my reading, that kind of thing. Number 14, if you could make any book go viral right now, what would it be? A book you think deserves more attention and why? I don't know about a book going viral because I feel like weird things happen when books go viral. But a book that I think deserves more attention, I keep talking about this one, The Inevitable by Daniel Hope, because I think this is just really a good book. Is it a perfect book in terms of the writing? No. Like you'll notice some things that aren't like perfectly edited in it, but I think it is more than good enough compared to some other things that I've read. And I think this is a book that would fit really well into that cozy sci-fi that is pretty popular right now. Like this definitely has some Becky Chamber vibes going on. Like it fits into that, you know, Psalm the Wild build. It fits into the cozy sci-fi that you get with a Long Way to a Small Angry Planet and just some of the stuff by Connie Willis, that kind of thing, where there's humor, there's some good, like, sort of John Scalzi sci-fi humor going on in this, as well as some coziness, as well as some, like, serious and somewhat heavy topics being discussed. And it's just a really interesting story that's really well done with some great themes and topics discussed in it, which are things that I really love, but it has a lot of good action, and I don't know anybody else who has read this, and I want at least one other person to talk to this book about. So I don't know if I want this book to go viral, but I want more people to read it because I want somebody else to talk about Tuck and David and everybody else in the book. Okay, and who are some booktubers with reading taste similar to yours? And this is the last question. And I would say for sure Allie. So thank you for tagging me. He is my go-to person for sci-fi in a lot of ways. We have very similar taste in that area. We have similar taste in like other reading areas too, but I think sci-fi seems like where we overlap the most. Britta is another person who I don't know what we have similar. Like we know we dislike the same things. So I think we're still in the process of figuring out like what we like, or if there's, I guess more specifically, if there's an area of books that we have very similar taste in. Like we seem like we like a lot of the same books as well, but not all of our reading tastes overlap. And then Didi, Brown Girl Reading, we seem to have very similar taste in classics. And then my bookish bestie Alex, we seem to just like all the same books. So for the most part, like we don't read all the same books, kind of like Britta and I. Alex and I, for example, like we're at the point where like she could give something a star rating and I will know exactly how I'm going to feel about the book and vice versa. So that's a really cool place to be and a good reason to give star ratings to books, at least like privately between friends or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for me. Those were the couple of people I thought of. I will tag some other people below whose channels I watch or who are readers that I enjoy or that kind of thing so that maybe they can share their taste with you and you can see if maybe there's some other channel you should also be watching. I will mention the four that I mentioned there down below as well as the creators and all of those things. And that's it for me today. Let me know what your bookish taste is like, what genres you like, that kind of thing. Answer any of the questions, even if you don't have a channel. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.